Today on the show, should your car be able to slow you down when you're speeding?
No, it shouldn't. Should we debunk more terrible advice from Dear Abby?
Yes, we should. And a new report asserts that something very strangely shaped like an ark has been found, and it matches the timeline. Do you believe it?
100,000%. All this and more on episode 29 of the Blimey podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blimey podcast. Every Friday, we try to make the world a little less messy. My name is Josh.
And I'm Jordan. Comment below with the answer to this week's very hard question. Would you rather take care of 100 chickens or 4 cows?
I don't have an answer to that immediately, which makes me think it's a good question. Whether you're new to the channel, have stuck with us throughout the years, or maybe you've come back recently and thought, oh right, I like these guys. Now is a great time to support us at supportblimeycow.com because it helps make this show possible, and we have so many awesome things coming in 2024 for our supporter community, and you don't want to miss it.
And speaking of not missing things, check out the Clips channel. Everything you love about the podcast without the time commitment, coming up on 700 subscribers. That is at Blimey Cow Clips on YouTube. Check it out.
Do it. Now here's a sad but funny story. I got an email this week from NordVPN saying that they wanted to sponsor some videos before the end of the year.
And I had literally just signed up for the year of NordVPN. It's just out of pocket. So I could have gotten probably a free year.
They might have comped you, yeah, but look, here's the thing, okay? We only really talk about products that we would use ourselves, and here is proof positive because Jordan literally
yeah, I love using.
You're a happy customer.
I love using it. It's the most. It feels like the most user-friendly one to me. I love it, and I can use it to. Am I allowed to say that I can use it with Netflix? Do they want you to say that?
You know, they like to talk about how if you're traveling, then you can still access your local content.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's what I do. My local content is in France. And they have a lot of great shows, and I'm learning French, so it's very helpful for me.
That's cool. So yes, this video is sponsored by NordVPN, but we're actually users of their service even when they aren't sponsoring the channel. NordVPN's mission is to make the internet better than it is today. It can be free from online threats, censorship, and surveillance. Whether it's man-in-the-middle attacks, DDoS attacks, phishing, malware, there's all kinds of things on the internet that a VPN protects you from. Yes. All you gotta do is click the little button, and now your IP address is masked and hidden, and you can just browse the net safely.
One account protects up to 6 devices, and they have dedicated apps for all the major platforms.
Plus, it's got a built-in data breach scanner and a password manager, which is really nice.
Become safer online with a single click. Don't miss your favorite content even when traveling. Stay safe from malware, and never stop with the fastest VPN on the planet.
Yeah, some VPNs are real slow.
I have experienced
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Go to nordvpn.com/cow to get a 2-year plan plus 4 additional months with a huge discount. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. That's nordvpn.com/cow.
Let's get to our top stories.
You said, what are we thankful for in the top stories?
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, by the way.
Happy Thanksgiving. I am thankful that I can see through the darkly mirror that they try and put over your eyes. I was watching The Social Dilemma. Did you see that?
No, some things I can just tell from the Netflix trailer. Yes. This is gonna pee me off.
Well, yeah, it would have, Josh. But what I was confused by was that a lot of people that I follow, whatever, online, are just friends. Seemed like they were posting about The Social Dilemma.
Have you seen The Social Dilemma? It's illuminating.
Yeah.
I heard that over and over.
Right. And so I was like, this is a Netflix series about how the internet is bad in some sense. So I was like, I gotta watch this. So I realized it was on there. So I watched, and yeah, they made a lot of great points about, like, well, it was really interesting because they had the software engineers on there who worked to create these apps and stuff. So it was really interesting to hear from their point of view, like what they were doing to design it to make you not be able to say no, and all the behind the scenes. And it was very scary. But Yeah.
What's the policy prescription?
Exactly. It was all about how humans can't control themselves, so we need the government to step in and make all these laws to make it so that everybody is safe. This was before COVID, too.
We're gonna talk about this later in the show when we get to the cars section. Kind of almost this exact same idea. But yeah, that was why I had no clue that any of this was going to be said, but it was also very clear. Their politics was very clear because they only showed right-leaning stuff where it was like, oh, look, these kinds of people can get hooked into all these things and then go and hurt people. And you know, and like, look, I agree with that. Like, I think that is true. But it's also true the other direction too,
and so when it didn't seem to show that,
right? So that was part of why I was frustrated. I know you're gonna act like these are your boogeymen, but they're all It's not just these people; it's them too.
Yeah, it was interesting what they were saying about how the algorithm really is dividing people because it doesn't care about its politics much as it maybe. I mean, I think it does.
Yeah, sure.
But they want you to be on Facebook as long as possible, so they're gonna put you in a rage and get you hooked into all this weird stuff. And same for the other side.
It's like this. It's like this dance of like giving you content that's going to enrage you to stay, but also putting you in an echo chamber of, well, I need to feel better, so I'm hearing things I agree with, while I'm also hearing things I disagree with, but we all agree that that's bad.
Yeah.
Over and over and over.
Right. So it was difficult because it was like, I understand what you're saying and I agree with this, but like it was very clear they were making it very one-sided. So it was a frustrating thing to watch. The first half was interesting, but Josh, they really did the thing like constantly that you absolutely hate, where they just sit down in the interviews and like breathe hard and. Oh, but it was bad. It was like they did it for every single person, and they were interviewing about 5 people, and they did it for every single one. It's like they really took it to the next level.
Okay, if you just like think about it for a second, like where did that start?
I think what it is they're trying to show you that they're being honest.
Yes.
For some reason, sitting down makes you feel like they're being honest.
You know where I don't know if this started here, but this is who uses it. Remember they used to have those commercials, and it's like we talk to real people, and so they would always like have the camera set up of like they're going to interview somebody, but they would also have a camera off to the side, and it was like you were seeing the camera off to the side,
and you see all the lights and stuff.
And it's like, wait, so why did you set up this camera? Why can't it just be this camera that you're actually showing me? Why do you have you're not even using
now
this
the
camera?
Cameras and stuff are the props too. It's kind of strange.
That is so true.
The lights are props.
It's like we don't trust what you're saying is true, so we have to see that, okay, at some point you sat down. You breathed heavy.
We're showing you what we're doing, so that's being honest.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that all stemmed from YouTube because, I mean, I've done it before in YouTube videos where if you're talking about something more heavy, you want to show, hey, I'm sitting down, I'm a normal person,
you're just a guy.
Yeah.
You're not like a Netflix production company.
It's professionally
making a professional
done.
content.
I don't know. I wonder if it did come from YouTube and then it's kind of bled over into Netflix.
It just
I don't know.
Drives me crazy. It's such a terrible trope.
What are you thankful for?
You know, I'm thankful I took the boys to the mall today to pick out some Christmas presents before the holiday rush.
Before all hell breaks loose.
Before all H breaks loose down at the mall. And thankfully, they already had their Black Friday sales going on, so we picked out some fun stuff. But there was Jordan, there were people everywhere. And there must have been some kind of school outing or something. There were schools everywhere. There were kids all over the place in these huge groups who were wearing the same shirt, and they've got like a counselor or somebody there like directing them around. Camp counselor herding them around. And it just struck me all of a sudden as the boys, it's a place at Opry Mills where they have the stage.
Yeah.
By the
where Jeff Fisher used to
talk, yeah. The boys love to play on that stage. So we're all playing on that stage. And there were just people all around, and I was like, a couple of years ago, it was very different here at the mall.
Oh, yes,
if it existed at all at the mall. And I just remember back then thinking, I hope it gets back to normal, because when these kids get old enough to know what's going on, I do not want this to be the world they're growing up in. And so it was just so nice. And all the kids, I guess some of them are walking around on their phones, but a lot of them, because they were in a school group, I'm guessing they weren't supposed to have their phones out or something, or didn't have them on them. So they just all look like normal kids, like that we would have grown up with.
Well, that's nice.
It felt like a blast from the past.
That's nice.
So I'm just thankful for that experience. I'm also just thankful that, I think there are some terrible remnants of COVID in a lot of ways, and in some ways I think we haven't even discovered yet. Mm-hmm. But in a lot of ways, I can take my kids to the mall, and I don't have that sick feeling in my stomach anymore. Yeah. Like a bunch of weirdos just walking around, and zombies.
That is something to be thankful for.
Okay.
Question of the week.
I like how our thankful fors are actually very pessimistic.
Dark. Last week's question of the week was, would you choose one best friend for life or 3 amazing rotating friends? What was the answer for this one? You did a poll on this.
Yeah, I did do a poll.
I was very curious what other people said
Most
about
people said they would rather have one best friend for their entire life.
Okay.
What do you think?
I said 3 amazing friends that rotate throughout your life.
I think I would agree with that.
I didn't really know why I said that, but that was gut feeling. And maybe that's because that's how I live my life currently.
Yeah, that's how
I feel pretty fine.
Right, that's
well-rounded. I see a lot of people become friends with a lot of different people that come and then they go, you lose touch. But you've learned a lot from them. And then you move on.
Different folks for different seasons.
Yes.
Of your life. I mean, sure, it's nice to think, okay, if you're close with your family, like I am, then you have your family for your whole life.
Right.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah, so the 3 friends are just bonuses.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed. Not much to it.
Not much to it. This week's question, would you rather take care of 100 chickens or 4 cows? I think this is the best question.
It is a good question. As we do these segments, I'm always thinking, is this going to be a clip or not? And the answer to this one is no. This will not be a clip. There wasn't enough said there. But this is I think that next week we will have a clip for this, because this could get heated.
Yes.
100 chickens or 4 cows?
I've almost lived with 100 chickens, and when I had 70 chickens at one point. I'm trying to think of adding 30 more.
Wow. You think you could do it?
Oh, yeah.
Are you guys ever going to get a cow?
If I don't get a cow by the end of my life, I will end it all.
My life will end one way or another.
It'll end one way or another. I'll just maybe end it a little, whatever.
Wow.
But it's not really, but maybe. If I get a single cow, I'll be great. So
just
happy.
A single cow.
Yeah.
One cow.
One cow, I'll be so happy.
All right. If you were is a chicken, if a single chicken,
what is a single chicken worth compared to a single cow?
Well, I'm guessing you're saying it's at least 25 chickens is the same stress as one cow, based on your ratio here.
Yeah, I was going to say 100 chickens or 1 cow.
Wow.
That was what I was going to say, but I said that's not good enough.
Are
4 cows.
Are cows hard to keep up with? You just got to milk them.
Well,
do you have to milk them?
No, not really. No.
Is it like a person where they have to pump, or it'll?
No, I think that
you'll get mastitis or whatever.
It gets messed up. I mean, if you really pay attention to how these cows are raised, even ethically, to get any significant amount of milk, you have to impregnate the cow. Then you have to take the calf away and have it come back and milk barely go away, and then you milk the rest so that it doesn't. And then you would feed the cow something. That's, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that makes sense.
But I think that's what it is. At some point, you have to take the cow away so you can get more milk. That's what I think it is. So I don't know.
I've never really even thought about the fact that a cow makes milk for its children.
That exactly.
I thought the cow made milk for the people.
No, you gotta impregnate them constantly. It's a whole thing. Everything's artificial.
It doesn't feel
they
very
do
ethical
everything
at all.
artificial. No, same with coats. Same with
coats.
Goats.
Oh, goats.
You don't do that to coats.
I thought you were saying like fur coats. So you gotta impregnate the sheep
to get the coats.
Jordan felt very confident about his memes because he has 3 of them.
Well, I've got 2 that are pictures and one's a video.
Okay.
And somebody sent me one, and I was like, I gotta include this one.
Okay. All right. Well, let's take a look at my
They sent me the
singular
video.
meme first.
Okay.
You always contribute much more than me.
Me crying my bed. That's good. I've always wanted to do that. But then when I really think about it, I don't want to do that.
Please open your Bible to Psalm. Body wants to...
It looks like an old picture. It really looked like they were advertising for Shrek, the original, so I had to include that one.
That got me.
That one gets funnier the longer that you look at it.
That got me.
Sir, this is the scariest moment of my life. Be not afraid. I thought that was funny.
Oh, I'm like in the exact right mood for both of those memes tonight. Sir, this is the scariest moment of my life. All right.
I don't even remember what this last one is. One of you sent me.
This is the one that was sent to you? All
Yeah.
Right, let's check it out.
All together local, all together simple, all together better Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, those are good. All right. Okay.
I feel like I did pretty good this
Wow,
time.
that was great. Let's help this poor girl. She heard some bad words.
Oh, no. Dear Jordan and Josh, I've always struggled with anxiety and feeling disconnected from my peers my whole life. Growing up, I was labeled your typical sheltered homeschooler since I wasn't in tune to current pop culture and had a more overall calm demeanor. I didn't know that was like a homeschooler thing, is having a calm demeanor. I thought it was the opposite, but church hunting.
Not my experience.
Church hunting it's either one or the other. It's like extremely calm, mellow, doesn't say a thing, or
Like that
nuts,
kid
crazy.
who came into your head when
Yes.
you thought about the hyper homeschool kid.
Yes.
I know I've got one in my
I
head.
do too. I will say names after this is cut. Church hunting has been difficult, but somehow I managed to find one I like. I ended up joining the only Bible study they had available for my age range, 25 to 35, singles. They do like a singles class.
Oh, dude, this is a real thing that these churches do. They do
They're
like
trying to
singles groups.
Get them to come together.
Oh yeah.
That's the whole purpose of it. It's like a dating app.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than Tinder, I guess.
It is. It was going pretty well until we had our first dinner outing as a group off campus. Turns out my Bible study teacher, 35, has a potty mouth. She curses a lot, and as a joke, she called someone in the class a not so nice male body part. I was shocked, since she hadn't acted this way up to that point, but no one seemed to care, and someone started to laugh. Some started laughing, I mean. I wish I wasn't so sensitive to crude words and wonder if this is just how much most Christians talk these days. I know I could go somewhere else, but it's been so difficult to finally join a church, and I'm not sure if I'm making this bigger than it actually is. Could I even escape this kind of talk no matter where I went anyways? What would you guys do in this situation? Look, I have the exact situation here.
Oh, yeah?
The exact situation. Okay, I was in high school. Co-op, whatever. And we had a guys group, like Bible study, whatever thing. I went to a couple times, okay?
Yeah.
And everyone acts so holy and stuff, like when you're at school. At Bible class in school. Well, this Bible class was, for some reason, when they go off campus, again,
all bets are off.
Everything, your true colors, as soon as you are just out of the parking lot. So I never drove with people because I was scared of their driving, but I decided, hey,
Correct.
look, I'll get in the car and they're like packed into this car,
Lord.
drive into Panera, and immediately they just start going off the rails. I mean, the things that they were saying, I couldn't believe it. And they knew.
Male body parts?
No, it wasn't those, but it was close. And I was like, what the frick is this? And so
You let slip a frick?
I did. I was that distraught by their F words. I had to let a Christian one fly.
What the frick is this?
I couldn't believe it. So, anyways, they realized that I was extremely uncomfortable. I'm just like looking out the window, like, what is going on? Because we were just acting like we were like the most Christian people of all time. And anyways, so they were like, "Oh, Jordan, sorry about this, blah blah blah." They don't stop. They
I
keep
hated
going.
that.
Yeah, I never really hung out with that group again. As a group, I could hang out individually with these people, but when they come into a group of hyenas, they'll steal, cheat, and destroy. If it's just one of them, like, it's just like a lone, sad person that you can talk to. But when they're all in a pack together, no, I'm not hanging out with any of them.
You said this was in college?
No. This was in high school.
Oh,
like
okay.
Homeschool, co-op, high school stuff. So
That's
was,
even more sad.
Yeah, it was weird. But this is so. Look, I know the exact feeling that you had when that happened. And you know what? I was in the same boat, and I said, "What am I gonna do?" I mean, I wasn't 25 to 35 at that point. I was like 16.
Nor were you single. Wait,
I was single. So, you know, I just said, to me, I was like, I'm not going back to that Bible class again. I'm not doing it. I didn't go back. That was my decision. Now, you are in a more desperate situation being a 25 to 35-year-old single. So, Josh, what do you think she should do? This is more of a diary. This isn't about the Bible class. This is about finding a mate.
Yes. You know, in the same way that we all... When we thought of the hyper homeschool kid, you have a face in your head.
Yes.
I feel like you also have a face in your head when you think about that sad person kind of hanging on to their youth, cursing to try to fit in. Because it said this person is 35 years old, hanging out at a 25 to 35 single. So she's right on the edge. She's right on the cusp of not being able to fit in here anymore. So she's trying her darndest.
This is the Bible study teacher.
The Bible study teacher is 35.
Is 35 and is the potty mouth.
And
she started it.
She's trying to fit in with the youths.
You're right. 25 to 35 is a pretty large area.
And so she's just like, "Hey, right? Am I right? This is what y'all like, right?" And they're like, "Yeah." They're all like, "What the frick is going on here?" They don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you're right, Josh. I think you're right. But she said that some of them were laughing. Some. So I would single out the ones who were laughing, discard them.
That's what I was going to say. Like, look, find the friendships that you want to have there and just get to know those people away from this person. And, you know, these other male body part laughing people.
You know, you're right. This might have been an actual good experience. This might have been a good bonding moment for you and the few people who weren't laughing at these weird jokes.
The
male body part jokes.
The male body part test is what this is.
Yeah. So now you can even... this was a test. What do they call it? Just test through fire. You guys went through war together. And now you all have been bonded. The ones, the pure. So that's what I'd say.
I don't think that there's anything wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling a little scandalized by hearing curse words. I know people are going to hear that and say, "Oh, come on, don't be so prude or children." But you know what?
Here it is.
This is a legit thing, okay?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen people say that they're triggered by hearing curse words?
No.
I've seen people say this. And I was like, "Oh, finally, it's getting some like actual respect out there."
See, to me, it's not even about the words.
Right.
It's about these people are
yes.
two-faced.
Yes.
You do this, and like if you have been doing this all the time, like, okay, whatever, listen to who you are. But now all of a sudden you just feel like you've been slapped in the face, not by the word, but that you've realized they're not exactly who they said they were. That's the whole point.
And I think for me, what is frustrating about that kind of thing is that it just feels like you're just trying to look cool. You're trying to do something because you think, "Oh, this makes me look cool, right?" And it's like, not really. So,
Fools.
I don't know. You're fine. Don't worry about this person. They're kind of sad, I'm sure.
Yeah, you can't escape it anywhere, so don't try to. You just have to stick with the people who didn't laugh at the joke. So
Maybe you can marry one of them.
Yeah, let's move on.
Jordan. I found an article this week that made me kind of mad, and then I actually thought about it, and I was like, let's talk about this on the podcast. Should cars have self-imposed speed limits?
Meaning they know what the speed limit is and they have to go that speed? Or
Yes.
that they can't go 180 miles an hour?
Well, right. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. Because, right, that's a good contrast. You shouldn't be driving over 100 miles an hour, and your car shouldn't let you. The National Transportation Safety Board recommended that automakers install technology on all new cars that can prevent reckless speeding, and for the first time called on the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration to mandate it. Of course, most people will frequently drive a bit faster than they're supposed to, but there is a world of difference between being a few miles over the posted speed limit and careening down a road at over 100 miles an hour. Unless they're employed in emergency response, no one's speedometer should be hitting the triple digits on public roads, yet it's a regular occurrence. That's an important distinction, because the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, why does my car go up to 120 miles an hour? Is it is it just a thing with, like, I don't know anything about cars, so is it something with the motor that when they're built, that's just how fast they can go? But I know that some cars can go faster.
Yeah, because the motors are nicer, and so I mean, I didn't like making a self-imposed limitation on a mechanical thing that can do something greater, because you have, it's just a weird thing. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but look, I will gladly have my car limited to 100 miles per hour as long as the cops are limited to 100 miles an hour as well. Because think about it.
They should be able to. They can only go 90 miles an hour.
Yeah,
they should be able to go slower.
Look, it's nothing against police, but imagine. We've all gone through COVID, okay? Imagine a time where everyone just goes bat blank crazy and I justifiably have to get away from something. We're all going 100 miles an hour.
We are all going exactly as fast as we can.
Yeah.
Our car will let us go.
Maybe there's a point, like when they were laughing at when they were laughing at the jokes, or it's not a joke, Josh, but when they were laughing at people who were like, I want a weapon in case the government goes completely crazy. Before 2020, they would laugh at you and say, "You really think the government's going to get crazy like that?" They would laugh at you for that. Now no one's laughing.
Yeah.
Now that's not a question anybody asks anymore.
That's something I wrote down. Is anything that saves lives defendable? Because that's what before COVID, I always joked. I know I joked about it with Kelly, maybe you too. And I would say, if they just locked us all in our homes, that would be the safest thing they could do for us. So, but should they do that? Because that would technically save lives. Because then nobody would be out in the public, nobody would be on the roads. I think there's also a lot of unintended consequences that just because you can't just manufacture society in whatever way you want it to look without there being unintended consequences.
Right.
So I think doing something like this would have consequences that we can't even imagine. And one of them would be that you would just have 100 mile an hour speed chases all the time. Everybody going the exact speed. No, what would really happen is people would just, what are you going to do? You create some technology on your car, people will figure out a way to override it. If you're going to make cars computers.
Yeah, that's what's so dumb about all this. It's like it'd be so easy for people to figure out how to do that, to break it. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't think any of this is actually going to... It probably will happen, and then it'll just be so stupid that... Just like the bad guys are the ones you're going to figure out how to break that, and they're the ones you're going to go at 150 miles an hour.
I think that cars will be self-driving before...
It's an issue.
This. And I will grant, too, that I think there is coming a time sooner than later when we will look back and say, how many people died a year in car crashes? Yeah. And we were just good with that? That's like a genocide every year. Yeah. Just for nothing, just because there wasn't some technology developed yet. And I know that it's scary, the idea of like, well, I don't want a car to drive me places. And I get that. I don't like that idea either. But I do think that transportation is going to be a technology that over the next 100 years is going to become a lot safer. Yeah. And more efficient.
It would be absolutely shocking if that isn't the case.
Yeah. If this is going to be the attitude that they have to say nobody should be going that fast. So we should just have a piece of technology that stops you from doing it. If that's kind of the attitude is like, well, this is for your own good. Self-driving car, that's for your own good.
Imagine that. Yeah, exactly. Imagine it's not. See, this is what you got to think about. It's not just like, hey, wear a mask if you want to. Okay, it's no. I'm going to shame you if you don't. This isn't going to be this thing. You're going to feel the pressure of somebody saying,
right,
you're going to do this.
If it was something where the self-driving car was so good that you were like, I gotta have that.
Yeah, but that's most likely not going to happen.
That's what I'm saying. Like if that was, but this idea of
it's going to be a crappy thing,
right,
and the government's going to tell you have to do that, and you're not going to have any control over where you park, what you do. It's going to take so much control out of your life and your hands that you're going to just never want to go anywhere.
Think about how many cars are on the road, though. The transitioning from the way it is now to self-drive, because all the roads will have to be different. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know how they're going to do it.
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
That's why I really thought that LK99 was going to come in and swoop in and fix all this.
Me too.
It didn't.
I'm going to have to create it.
You do it.
I'm going to have to do it, Josh. Deep thoughts. Wow, what is yours? Disney villains.
I've been thinking this week about why Disney movies are not on par with when we were growing up. And I think I figured it out. It started from a good place and devolved quickly. I think at some point they said, why are all the villains one note? Mm-hmm. They're just evil. They just revel in being bad. They have no story. They have no arc. So at some point they said, let's create villains that are a little bit deeper, have more of an arc. That on its own is a great idea, because if you can contrast the villain's motivations with the hero's motivations, a la Star Wars, it makes for a very compelling story because everybody has an arc. But what Disney does instead is create arcs that are more interesting for their villains, and then the hero doesn't really have an arc. The hero doesn't have an arc. Their whole arc is realizing how awesome they are. And so they're not actually overcoming a flaw. Instead, they're just having to overcome their insecurity, which is fine for a movie or two, but when it kind of becomes everything and the villain is more interesting than the heroes, then that's why these movies aren't quite as...
Which movie are you talking about?
I'm thinking, most of the Disney movies recently have sort of had this I didn't realize how awesome I was kind of vibe. Like, they're not really, and when I say that, that's a little bit unfair, but what I mean is that the hero doesn't have a flaw that they are having to overcome. So a movie that does this, that was somewhat recent, is Encanto, which is actually a good movie. And that's why I'm saying it doesn't have to be a bad thing. I'm just saying, when you look over the breadth of the library over the last 10, 20 years, I think that's a problem. And I don't think that they have storytellers that are good enough anymore to fix that.
Maybe because everybody now thinks of themselves as evil, so they're trying, the writers are trying to make the evil characters interesting because they can see themselves more as the evil person than the good person.
I don't know if that's conscious, but that could be part of it. But I think the inverse is true too, where everybody sees themselves as just flawless and I am exactly the way I'm supposed to be, and blah, 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 blah. And, if you have a criticism of me, well, cast it aside.
Yeah.
And so the arc, to them, the arc is great. The arc is, people are being mean to me, but I just need to realize I don't have to listen to you, versus
I see.
a movie like, Lion King or something, where the hero of the story literally runs away out of fear, and his whole arc is that he has to go and be the father of the
Yeah.
pride, and he wants to be selfish and not do that because he's scared. So the whole movie is about him realizing he has to go do that. But but Lion King is an example of a villain that is just a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think at some point they said, well, what if Scar was more interesting, but at the expense of Simba now just being like, oh, I'm just so scared to be the king of the pride. I don't know. No, you can do it.
Yeah.
All right, I can do it. And then Scar is like, okay, I'm a good guy now.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? This is
I see what
something
you mean.
about this is weird.
I see what you mean.
He should just be a bad guy because it's like, this isn't real life. Just tell me a story of good versus evil. And I get, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I see what you mean. That's interesting. I haven't watched a Disney movie in so long that I didn't even.
Yeah.
I still thought they were still doing the evil stuff.
No.
And there's no.
No,
Okay.
it's yeah.
Well, at least they're trying something, Josh. At least they're trying to add more depth to their stories.
Sure.
My deep thought was, the youth, Josh. Every generation, like us. Now the people before that have come after us, the generations coming after us.
The kids I saw at the mall today.
Yes, everybody now, the new generations always feel like they have this deeper understanding of the world more than us, more than their parents, more than their grandparents, because they understand how to use technology in a different way and better than the older generation. So it makes sense in some way.
Yeah.
Because their brains have just melded to that. Well, I was thinking, what about like when technology wasn't evolving so fast, like 1600s, 1500s.
Yeah.
I really was thinking, like, what was the generations like?
Yeah.
Did they admire, or is that why older generations were like legends almost? Because it's like, well, no, they actually know more because they've been through wars.
Yeah.
They've been through, they like have been through famines. They've been through all this stuff. And you're just a kid and life is really real because you're just out there trying to survive. And so you would like marvel at these people. Now it's like, okay, so you worked at a job for 40 years, like, and then you have a pension. Okay. Like they don't think about the grueling effort that was.
If you're still here, you've seen some things.
Yeah, they don't admire what they've gone through.
Yeah.
And it's just like they have this enlightened state that, I use TikTok better than, or understand all this stuff, and it's the way that we were too in some way, but like more self-aware about this is like, okay, we understand how to use video, like we can make something with this, but we didn't think we were better than, but now you start to feel this like sense of like I'm better than the next generation. So I was just thinking like, is this literally just because of technology and have generations long time ago, did they feel the same kind of way? I'm sure they did to some extent.
I mean, you had revolutions and stuff. You've had revolutions over the centuries, so you still have that spirit of like wanting to rebel against the system or the current zeitgeist or whatever. So I'm sure it existed in some way, but that makes sense that it would be very different.
Yeah. Now it feels like it's on this like it's so innate.
Well, and we've grown up in a society that has very little respect for elders.
Yeah.
If we were in an Eastern country,
it would be
this conversation might not make any sense because we're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's interesting. That's an interesting thought.
There's no answer.
I don't know.
We'll never know the answer.
Yeah.
So let's go to conspiracy theories because that was a weird segue, but. Now, I've seen this time and time again. Now, is this a new one or is this one I've seen?
This is a new one. No, this is new.
Because I thought the old ones were real, and now it turns out that they just forgot.
No. Every time they find Noah's Ark, you're supposed to forget about all the other times that they found Noah's Ark.
Same with LK99. You're supposed to forget about all the other times they almost found a superconductor.
This is the one. Noah's Ark from the sun. In the past century, dozens of individuals claim to have located the Ark, but no scientific evidence has been found. Now, a team excavating a geological formation in Turkey has aged rock and soil samples they believe contains ruins of the vessel. The archaeologists have concluded that the site, at the same time the Bible puts the Great Flood 5,000 years ago. The project began in 2021 and is ongoing, but the initial analysis determined samples to contain clay and marine materials. So check this out, Jordan. This is the shape of the thing they found. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. And then look at this like 3D scan.
Yeah,
what else could it be? A whale? Is it a big whale?
This is what's hard because I've seen some that look more convincing than this. And now they're not real.
Look, whenever I remember there was one floating around for a while. It's like, look, there's some sort of wooden structure down there. I'm like, that boat's not still there. Come on.
Well, then, so
but,
what are they gonna?
But that makes more sense.
So, are they saying this is wood, or they need to excavate the site?
No, they're saying that if it was this big, that this would be the shape that the Earth would create around it when the thing had settled.
Oh, and now it's gone.
That's my understanding.
Well, they're finding stuff in there. It looks like they're finding. I mean, you would think there would be some kind of something left.
In terms of dating, it is stated that there was life in this region as well. That was revealed in the laboratory results. It is not possible to say that the ship is here with the dating. We need to work for a long time to reveal this. So yeah, maybe they are saying it's like buried down there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's the most convincing is that they have these 3D scans, which didn't exist back when I was looking at these a while ago. They didn't have this. This is like, I don't think they did. This has kind of revolutionized a lot of different things, like looking at the forests in South America and stuff. They can find all these pyramids and stuff they couldn't see before because they can just scan it going over with airplanes.
Oh, and the mountain is the highest peak in Turkey, which would make sense that that's where the Ark landed.
Yeah, did they say that it's near, where is it, Ararat or whatever? In the book of Genesis, the mountains of Ararat is what is known as Eastern Turkey.
So at the highest place where they would say Noah's Ark would have landed, in the highest peak of that area, they have found something that is the shape of an ark.
Yeah, what a coincidence.
Okay, they're saying maybe it's buried beneath a rocky spot. So, yeah, maybe it's just in the earth somewhere down there, dude.
Well, they need to excavate
But this is what always happens. They're always like, oh, we can't get to that spot. There's always something that, you know. Imagine if they actually found a boat. What would they say? Would they say, oh, well, so what? Someone made a boat back then. And then they wrote a story about it. So what?
They'd have to come up with something.
Imagine if, dude, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Imagine if they found dinosaur bones.
That'd be epic. It'd be epic.
I was always skeptical of this, but that's pretty cool. If this is true, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It would make sense. So, pretty wild.
Hopefully it's real.
Pretty wild. How would you build a boat up on a mountain top that high? If it was all faked or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, so someone built a boat up there. How would you build a boat up in a mountain? Especially back then.
Right. It had to have landed.
Like this is a pyramid situation where like they're using the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that would have to be the Wi-Fi.
Okay. Oh, it's time. We got a new segment, guys. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
We're going to debunk Dear Abby.
That is inaccurate, false information. If you are a parent, you would look at that information and that would naturally raise concerns.
Jordan, people loved when we debunked Dear Abby last time. They were like, please do that segment again.
Oh, really?
Please do that segment again. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Dear Abby, you're going to love this.
Is this like a website?
Yeah. She's just like it's like a column that she does.
Oh, okay.
My girlfriend and I started dating a couple years ago after getting out of long-term relationships. We have kids from those relationships, and she is in court over custody. Okay, so this guy and girl both have kids from previous relationships, and now they are dating. We haven't been able to buy a house yet, mostly because of the cost of the court battle. So we live apart and can't spend as much time together as we like. However, when we do have the time, she usually wants her kids to join. She says she wants her kids everywhere with her. She has also told me I will never come first. I have custody of my son and want to spend time with him too, but I think we need to spend time as a couple and make our relationship important. I feel both the relationship and the kids should be priorities, but not always one over the other. Recently, we learned a band we both love and grew up listening to is coming to our town. We were excited about going, but she wants to buy tickets for herself and her son because he said he likes the band when he hears his mom listening to it. He is 10, and whenever we do things like this, he ends up playing games on his phone all night. I end up being babysitter, buying drinks and food for him, taking him to the bathroom, etc., which prevents me from relaxing and enjoying my time. The tickets are not cheap, and if we bought them separately, we would not be able to get seats together. She said she's definitely buying tickets for herself and her son and hopes I can make it, and maybe she'll see me there. This event is something I felt would be special for us to share together, but it appears she doesn't feel the same. Am I selfish for wanting to spend time with her at this concert without kids? Craving date night in Virginia. All right, Jordan, what do you think? Well, first off, what do you think about this situation? Then what do you think Dear Abby had to say?
Dear Abby probably said that it's very important for them to have their date nights and stuff. Wow. And that's the most important thing in the relationship. Right?
Yeah. What would you say to this person?
Get a new life.
Yeah.
Find a new life.
You made your decisions.
Look,
that's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm trying to imagine having kids and getting hung up about a concert.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is the band we like. She's gonna just take her kid.
While this guy has a kid too,
right?
And isn't
I have custody of my kid, and I like spending time with him too.
It's so sick. It's so sick. Like if you can't be in a relationship and have your kids and you all be together, like most all the time,
right?
Then it's over. Like
right.
Then you should be alone with your child because the other person is gonna mess up your priorities.
Right.
They should all be together.
It's
why are they going to this stupid concert?
It's like, why are you buying a house if you're not even married? The idea should be, look, we're gonna form a new family here, and if we're gonna form a new family, then these kids are 10. They're gonna be around. Sorry.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Sorry. All right, this is what Abby said. I don't think you're selfish for wanting to have a date night with your girlfriend. In fact, I think one should be scheduled with her on a regular basis. This woman does not appear to be as into you as you are into her. Another thing that concerns me is your statement about her making you responsible for her son when the three of you attend an event together. A trip to the bathroom I can understand, but she should take her son to the snack stand if he wants something. Something is out of balance here. I hope you will think long and hard before investing in a house together. That last statement is the only thing she said that I agree with.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this, she is right that he seems more into the girl than the girl seems into him, because it's a weird thing to be dating somebody and say, hey, I'm going to take my son to this, and if we see you there, whatever.
Well, so I didn't understand this the first time I read it. I think what he's saying is that the tickets are expensive. So he can't afford to buy tickets for all of them. So she's just buying tickets for herself and her son. And so
right, okay.
And for some reason, this doesn't make any sense. For some reason, he can't just say, hey, I'll pay you back. But these people are weird. Yeah,
that I see what you mean. That's
just buy 3 tickets together. And
right.
Then,
she's just simply dating this guy. Okay, whatever. She has a son. That relationship is extremely important. So she's going to prioritize going with him.
And also, if you guys all go out together and she's letting you do things with him, like take him to the bathroom or the food stand or whatever,
that's a big thing of trust,
right? And she's finding out if you're gonna be the man.
But he's whining.
Are you going to be a dad here?
Yeah, he's
and
whining.
He's like, why does she make me do this? I have custody of my son, and I like being with. It's just like, who are these people?
They're
these poor kids.
They're every person, Josh. That's the problem.
When you go to a sports game, you just look around like.
Yep, you see every kid.
Oh look, there's all like
people.
I got custody of my kid.
Yeah, no, we're screwed.
I don't even know if I agree that he's more into her than she is into him. It's just he's not aware of what a priority, like you said, that the kid is.
Well, I think that this
Is that her fault, or is that his fault?
I think that he is into her more than she is into him because it doesn't necessarily have to be that way.
Sure.
It's just that he's acting like such a pansy.
Yeah.
That she's like, well, look, you got kids, I got kids. Let's try and make this work.
If he spent as much time focused on trying to be a stepdad to these kids than he is worried about this stupid concert, she probably would be more into you. And I think that
yeah, and that's why it feels like it's going wrong. Okay, well I feel like we
don't buy a house together.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
This has been a downer episode.
Well, that's why it's time
for It Gave Me Hope. I finished my dog house retaining wall, hole in the ground, underground dog house.
Completely done?
Yeah, I just have to throw.
That's always the thing. Yeah, but I just have to.
I have to finish moving the dirt.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it's like, yeah, it's done.
Okay.
Like everything's done. I just have to
Good
put
job.
dirt in and grow grass on top.
Good
of it.
job.
It's done. Which is going to be quite a feat to grow grass on this because there's so much foot traffic from the dogs and the chickens. So I got to block it off somehow and pray to God they don't jump it, destroy it, whatever. So I don't even know if it's possible.
Even if you grow grass, they're just going to eat it once it's done, right? Aren't the chickens just going to eat it?
No, I mean, they don't really eat it. They just scratch at it. So if I can come up with a way where, say, you put chicken wire over the dirt and then you grow grass on top of it, then when they dig, they're digging into metal and they can't dig it, but the grass can come through. So if you put like rabbit fence, poultry fence, really thin,
you're going to put that on the ground?
Yeah, and then grow then dirt goes on that, and then the seed goes in that, and so the dogs can't dig.
How do you think of this stuff?
I don't think Sarah mentioned this.
Is that something that has been done before, or this is just an idea you guys are going to try?
I've heard of people doing that for chickens where they build like a frame and if they want grass to grow, they like have it above ground and then the grass grows through the frame and then they can kind of pick at it, but they can't destroy it. This is actually going to be sitting in the ground.
Okay.
And it's gonna have to be that rabbit fencing because I'm pretty sure that's galvanized, which means it can't erode as easily as just regular chicken wire. So we'll see. That might be what we do.
Okay.
At least do that over the top of the doghouse area because there is a membrane that I have gooped on this stuff that is waterproof, and if the dogs scratch that and get to and permeate that membrane, then it's like this black goop stuff. That dries, but they can scratch through it. And if they scratch through it and then water gets in there, then it can kind of compromise the waterproof nature of that stuff.
Okay.
So I need to really make sure that dogs don't scratch through the dirt.
Okay.
Because it's not very thick. It's like maybe that much dirt on top of it.
Yeah.
So, and they can easily scratch through that. So that's just a whole game. We'll see.
Okay.
Right now I've got a bunch of cinder blocks on top of it so the dogs can't find a place to dig. So it's kind of ugly in that aspect, but it'll be figured out.
Okay. Well, send me a picture or something before. So I can
I will
throw it up on the screen here. Good job, buddy. I'm so proud of you for doing that. That's really cool that you did that.
There's a lot of pounds. Thousands of pounds.
Oh my word. Okay, Jordan, I did a glucose monitor for a couple of weeks. The one that you suggested I do.
Very VERI or whatever it is.
VERI. And
not a great user-friendly app, but they try. They do try.
Terrible. But it was at least nice. It was so... I'm going to make this a downer too. But I'll bring it back. It is so obnoxious. You can tell the things that are owned by Big Pharma. As soon as you start looking around for a product, you can say, oh, this is not an actual free market. This is some sort of healthcare crap. Because you're looking for like a glucose monitor. Good luck finding pricing for anything. Yeah. So you're looking around and, you're going to get a prescription for this. You got to do this and this. I just want to put a device on my arm that tells me what my glucose is.
And the annoying thing is that in other countries, you can pretty much just get this at like a Walgreens.
It's so
but not
stupid.
Here. Here it costs hundreds of dollars to do that.
I read that the Apple Watch...
Are they getting close?
They're still working on it from what I read on like Mac Rumors or whatever site. But apparently they have the technology. It's just too big still.
Oh, okay.
So they're trying to get it down lower to where it could fit inside a watch. But they can do it without pricking you.
Wow, that's cool.
They can get whatever light is needed to see what's in your bloodstream or whatever.
Wow.
Think about how cool it would be if you can just get a little ping on your wrist to say, "Hey, your blood sugar is spiking right now." That would be so cool. Because then you just immediately know, all right, I need to calm down a little bit.
That would revolutionize a lot.
It would.
That
be
would help a lot of people to get better perspective on it.
Because it really was nice to be able to scan and say, "Oh, my blood sugar is spiking right now." Okay,
Walk. Do something.
Yeah,
Like,
or just stop eating. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true.
I was gonna get one more thing, but I'm not gonna do that anymore.
Yeah.
Or let me have some vegetables or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned a few things that were very interesting. I wrote a few things down. Eating mostly clean foods means that you rarely spike your glucose.
I think it can be pretty boring if you're not like.
Yeah, I was purposely doing things trying to spike it just to make sure it was working. So like one night I was at Kroger and they had like a marked down piece of tiramisu cake.
You
and
gotta
I
go
was
in
like,
the back right.
I'm doing it. Yeah. And so I ate it, but I think because I had just eaten some vegetables before or a salad or something, it didn't even spike my glucose. This big piece of cake.
Did it go up at all?
A little bit, but not.
Yeah.
Not very much. The times that it went up a lot were when I would eat a lot of food at the end of the night. One time, and I had a bowl of popcorn one time, did not spike my glucose. But then I made myself a big bowl of popcorn a few days later. That spiked my glucose. And it very slowly went down.
And that was at night?
As I slept, yeah.
And that messes up your sleep somewhat, they say, when you're...
Yeah.
I wonder if you paired the glucose monitor with like the sleeping apps that can tell how you're restless. That would be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, if I had thought more about it, I could have done that, yeah.
Those stress me out. Those sleep things, those sleep apps, they stress me out. When I'm sleeping, I think I'm thinking about the app while I'm sleeping. So I don't like using those.
I like having the information if I want to look at it, but not really thinking about it.
Yeah.
If you aren't eating clean foods, as long as you pair it with a veggie, it usually stops a big spike. So we've talked about that before, but basically like having some sort of like a leafy green salad before you have a dessert helps your blood sugar not spike. Now, don't do it all the time, but...
Yeah, it makes a big, huge difference. I mean, massive difference.
And then I already said the thing about eating food late at night. Yes, that was most of what I learned. I don't know. I mostly eat clean.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too exciting, but it was just cool to see that, okay, I guess I'm good. I always assumed that if I ever did something like that, I was in for a rude awakening. But no, I was good. I was okay. So it was fun.
Well, we'll see if, hopefully it is expensive, to be honest. It's expensive to get one of these things.
I'm not going to do it again.
Very rarely. I might do it once a year.
Yeah.
Once every 2 years. I don't know. Maybe not again.
Yeah.
But hopefully they do bring it down in price or make it more popular, because it really is in other countries. So if it ever gets to be like that,
I wonder if you could just buy it from another country.
I don't think you can. That's probably
contraband.
Contraband.
So stupid. It really is
I cannot
dumb.
imagine they would allow you to do that, because then they're losing money here. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So.
As soon as I started looking it up, I was like, why is this so hard? Oh, right, because it's a healthcare thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's messed up.
So many random things you can buy on Amazon that you would think, how is there possibly enough people that I can buy this affordably? Something like a glucose monitor that millions of people use, you can't find the price for it online. And when you finally find it, they're like $150. It's like, this does not cost $150. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Just let it all burn. Let it all freaking burn. Okay, let's recommend some things. Dry Tortugas. Go.
Yeah, this is a very, very secluded, I think the most secluded national park in the country. It's called Dry Tortugas. It's like 70 miles off the coast of Key West. And it's not going more south. It's actually going west. So Key West is actually more south than Dry Tortugas is. But it's like you're in the middle of nowhere. And the only way to get there is by like a small boat that can maybe fit like 150 or 200 people on it. And it's a 70-mile trip, and the boat goes 30 miles an hour. So it takes 2.5 hours to get to this place by boat. It's a long way, and then you got 2.5 hours back. And you spend 4 hours on this island, which is what Dry Tortugas is. It's got a long history of being kind of a safe haven for ships that are trying to get around this area to be able to go into like the United States or into Mexico, places like this, as far as I'm understanding. So it's called Dry Tortugas. Well, the United States government built a massive fort on this random island called Dry Tortugas in the middle of nowhere. And when you first see it, I mean, it's just 16 million brick. It's like just unbelievably massive. And you think, how on earth did they do this? And why did they do this? When they had wood ships and it would take like 30 or whatever, however many hours to just send a load of one thing here. But it's the history of it is so interesting. And if you ever get a chance to go there, I would highly suggest going there. Me and Sarah did that on our trip. I think it costs like $200 per person to go out there. Okay, so it's like a day at Disney World, as Dad said. Yeah, but you get a piece of American history. You get to learn a lot about it. And it's a very unique place.
How often are you going to be out that far?
Exactly, because it takes a long time to get to Key West, anyways. Yeah, 4 hours from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, whatever. So it's a very interesting place. It makes a lot of sense why this random massive fort is in the middle of nowhere. It's a safe haven, deep waters, one of the only deep water areas in that whole region. And you have to, even to this day, you have to pass Dry Tortugas if you are going to ship freights through to get into the Mississippi River. So it's basically around this fort is 3 miles of deep water, and so they have just an ungodly amount of cannons that they had on this place.
What?
Cannons that they had out here that could shoot and just obliterate anything for 3 miles.
Dude,
so they made this insane thing after the War of 1812. The Americans made this after the War of 1812 when the British came and they burned the United States Capitol. And so it was basically the 9/11 of that day, and they were like, well, we're never going to let this happen again. So that's how they came in. They came around Dry Tortuga, so they built this ridiculous base there that was like impenetrable. And I mean, it's just insane.
Like spending all your resources in Age of Empires on like one little fort.
That's all it was. It's just it is insane. Yeah, it can't be stopped. So it's just a very, very, very interesting place, and it never fired a shot, but it took a lot of. I mean, there was no reason for it to because you wouldn't even try.
Never needed to.
But it played a big role in the Civil War. Interesting story in the Civil War about how the Florida just left the Union, and so they were like, hey, we need to go down to Dry Tortugas because it's going to be pretty valuable. Turns out there was already a Union ship that was there that had, and they're like, what is this? Like, what there's only one Union ship is here. What's going on? So the Floridian boat is loaded, like ready to just blow people up. But there's there's a ship here, and there's like the most defended thing in the world. So we're not gonna. So they just pull up, and they're not getting shot at. They're confused. So what's going on? So they keep pulling up, and they land, and then the Florida general or whatever. Admiral, whatever they're called, gets off the ship and walks up to the the gate, and then the Union guy comes out and he's like, hey, the Floridian dude was like, hey, you guys got to forfeit. We're gonna blast you to death because we need this. And the Union dude was like, no, we're you guys have an hour to leave. We're loaded. We're going to blow you guys apart. We will only let you survive so that you could go back and tell nobody to try this again. The Florida guy just turned around and leaves. The Union had nothing. They had no anything. They had 36 guys. This place could hold 2,000 people for a year.
Wow.
They had 36 people with no ammunition, and they just got there one day before. Because they anticipated Florida was going to leave, so they sent people out.
Wow.
Got there one day before, and because of that, basically, because of Lincoln's Anaconda Plan, which basically meant they were going to blockade all of the South so they couldn't get any boats in to replenish their, their dwindling of everything.
Yeah.
And that's basically why the South lost, because the Anaconda Plan worked, because they were able to blockade all the Mississippi and all this stuff. And yeah, it's very interesting. They were able to get up the river, and if they hadn't bluffed and Florida had taken Dry Tortugas, it would have been way, way, way harder for them to do that, because the Union's just sending ships constantly around this thing.
Wow.
It's a very interesting story.
Fascinating. I gotta go check this place out.
It's cool.
Dry Tortugas. I'll take a cruise and then I will go to Dry Tortugas. Awesome.
What is yours?
Okay, so in addition to checking my glucose levels and stuff, I've been trying to figure out a more sustainable way to keep track of my eating and exercise and stuff like that in a more sustainable way. Because the number one thing that I have wanted to stop doing in my life is feeling like, okay, I ate this much today, so I need to exercise this much today. Or worse, I exercise this much today, so that means I can eat this much today.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I started thinking, I need to think about it more in terms of like weeks instead of just like today. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be days where I don't get to exercise and I don't need to freak out that I ate a normal amount of food, Or there are going to be days where I exercised a lot and I don't want to feel like I need to stuff my face.
Yeah, like on the cruise, you eat more food.
Yeah.
And then when you come home, you're like, all right, I'm probably going to calm down on the food for a week and a half or something like that. Like, maybe not eat as much.
And it might have been, I think I started thinking about this while I was on our trip to Gatlinburg because, I didn't get to exercise as much. So anyways, I found this app called Streaks. And basically, it can be linked with like the health app and stuff. So if you can use it to like track calories and stuff like that. So I basically just say, hey, this many times every 2 weeks, I want to make sure I've burned this many calories in a day. And as long as I kind of hit that goal, then I know I'm doing okay. And and the whole idea too is that I'm eating good most of the time too. So that's more important than anything else. But just in terms of just
you're trying to see more of like a graph. Like the glucose is like a graph of your glucose.
Exactly. I just want to make sure that like, hey, okay, I know I've eaten a lot this week. Okay, so maybe next week I won't eat quite as much just to kind of balance it out. Kind of just coming up with a plan because I was losing weight for so long. Now I'm trying to kind of just say, all right, now I'm trying to sustain it. So I'm just trying to figure it out. So anyways, Streaks app is very nice. It can be linked with the health app and stuff.
I wonder if it can hook up to like things like Strava and stuff like that.
I'm pretty sure it can, as long as Strava can go into the health app. Yeah, because you can say like, hey, I want to do like 3 bike rides a week or whatever, and you can set it up and just every day you just say, okay, I did my bike ride. Or I think you can link it up with the health app and say, oh, you did a cycling activity, bloop, and it does it for you.
That's cool.
So that's cool. It's nice. And so I've just said, hey, this many times a week, I want to make sure I eat this much or whatever. And just try not to be legalistic about it, but give myself, I don't know. I feel like it's like a constant trying to figure it out because it's just like
you're saying it's like a thought that's always on your mind.
Yeah, it's always in my head. And so I'm trying to do things to make it so that it's like automated. I have a system for it, so I don't really have to think about it as much. And this has been good because I finally kind of feel like I figured something out where I don't feel like I'm constantly having to exercise to keep up with what I am doing.
That slice of whatever you have.
Yeah, exactly. I'm tired of feeling that way, and I know it's not healthy to think that way. So, and part of it too is that I've been doing this long enough that I eat well most of the time. So that, like you said, the 80-20 rule, like 80% of the time you just eat good.
Yeah.
And 20% of the time you don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And that's what I do anyway, so I'm trying not to worry about it. So anyways, it's been over 2 years now since I started trying to, I don't know, I've lost like 30 pounds or something like that in the last couple of years. So
that's pretty crazy. It's been that long.
Now I'm done. And I'm just trying to figure out how to make it sustainable. Because it's fine as long as you find something that works and you're like constantly losing weight and you feel like you have this progress. But now I don't have progress. It's just, okay, I want it to be normal now.
See, I don't think in terms of like, I think in terms of how much activity did I do today? Whatever that just like, it's not even a number. It's just a thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, that makes sense why I'm like this hungry or not this hungry. And that's fine.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. And I mean, I've done it long enough that I could guesstimate that stuff too. Like, and I would, but something about just having an app that kind of just like keeps up with it for me so I can just check in and say, am I doing good? Because food is just harder for me.
Yeah.
Food is just harder for me. It's easier for me to just say, like we did early Thanksgiving with Kelly's family the other day. And I just want to.
Yeah.
I just want to eat.
Eat a normal thing that everybody wants to eat on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I just wanted to really go for it. So, anyways.
Really go for it.
I did. God help me. But I'm still here. Dude, what if there was a thing that could like just say, hey, because of what you did on this day, minus 1 day of your life. Like, and it didn't tell you when you were gonna die. It just said whatever that date is, it's 1 day sooner now.
See, what I think of when I think of food, like I remember when I was cycling so hard.
Yeah.
I would literally know, okay, I know I have this amount of calories that whatever calories stored in my liver.
Yeah.
It's like 2,000 or something crazy. That's a lot of calories. So whenever I have Thanksgiving, and you're eating so much, I think, okay, my calorie storage is full for like an entire day. I could eat not anything for an entire day and be okay. So the next day, hey, if I have a calorie deficit, my body's going to go into the liver storage. And so I think when I go on cruises and stuff and you eat a lot, your liver storage is like constantly full. So you're overeating.
Yeah.
But then when you come home, it's like you start to use that storage, then you eat, then you use more of the storage, and it starts to slowly go down. That's always what I think. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but I just think of it in this hypothetical.
I certainly am not, like, after a day of eating Thanksgiving, like the next day, yesterday, I
what are you
wasn't
feeling
I
like?
wasn't hungry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was very hungry for breakfast, so I had a big breakfast, and I wasn't hungry the rest of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it
I think my
goes.
body was like, hey, can we have some like real food now?
And then not eat.
Okay, thanks. That's what I'm good.
Yeah, that's always what I think.
Because I was like, maybe I'll fast today. And then in the morning, I was like, no, I can tell my body. And so like a year before, I would have probably like powered through it and said, yeah, I'm going to fast today. But this year, I was like, I can tell my body is saying I need protein. So I made myself a big thing of protein, lots of meat. And then I just was good the rest of the day. And then I ate normally today, and I feel fine.
There you go.
The end. Okay?
Thank you guys.
That's the episode. Done.
I'll check out Streaks.
Check out Streaks. I'll check out Dried Tortugas, okay?
All right, guys. Well, that's it.
Peace out, everybody.
ya.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.